Good morning, everyone. I don't know if there are others on Zoom, but welcome to those around the table, to Brandon, who is via Zoom, and thank you. This morning, our topic is economic development in the region, and we have two speakers, Brandon Ferris from Loudoun County Economic Development Office, and David Kelly from Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. And so we're going to start with Brandon, and we hope everybody can see the presentation up on the screen. And if you can't, let Scott know. Anyway, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Excuse me. Happy New Year. Happy post-holidays, festival holidays. Good to see everybody. I apologize for my voice. I'm coming off of a nice, wonderful round of COVID, but we will keep on carrying on. So, Loudoun has been doing well. Last year, this is a part of our annual report. All of the things that I'm presenting are available digitally that I can share with the group if anyone wants more detail. But we released our annual report probably right before Christmas, and the big takeaways are we had a little over $10 billion in investment in the county last year, driven by places like County Energy, places like Cuisine Solutions, who made significant investments in the county in terms of jobs, in terms of expansions and things like that. We retained a little over 5,700 jobs, a little shy of 1,200 businesses retained, and 165 new business wins. Those include new businesses that are coming into the county, companies that are staying, companies that are growing. We did a really good year, a record-breaking year for us. I'm not certain how many more like this that we're going to have, kind of considering the landscape of inflation and all those other things like that. But again, last year was a really good year for us. If you take a look at the economic diversity wins down here in the bottom, we diversified a little bit from, we had a significant number of data center wins, but we also had 23 wins in the rural economic development sector. So those are wineries, breweries, farms, anything agriculture related, as well as a shifted focus on information technology and communications as well. All of those things that can grow in Loudoun County thanks to our infrastructure. And then, of course, 34 retail wins, which means that the retail sector is outstanding that. So the focus really for 2024 for economic development is kind of, for us in Loudoun, is to make sure that our major developments are continuing to grow and to be sustained. And I'll talk a bit more about Rivanna Innovation Station and about One Gramercy in detail. But we're really focusing this year on growing out those larger major developments that we have, particularly around Brambleton Town Center, Brambleton South Industrial, where we are seeing some increases in flex industrial space. And then the retail districts around the Silver Line and Gramercy, and as well as those located in Sterling as well, around the Commonwealth Center, One Loudoun, University Commerce Center. We recently had the former NTSB building that the NTSB were leasing. We're looking at a couple of major clients. Hopefully we'll be announcing sometime by the middle of 2024 a significant client that will be taking over that space, which will be a big win for that area over there. But really this year, again, we're not necessarily focusing on data centers and things like that, but the focus is on economic diversity and growing the job base in Loudoun to see those areas that we know that are growing, those areas in manufacturing, those areas in information technology, those areas in other specialty fields that are going to sustain us through the post data center revolution that we're going through right now. I mean, at any point, if you have any questions, just shout out to me and let me know. One Gramercy is the area that is right over there where the Ashburn Metro Station is where our office is. And it's been under development for some time. I remember when I first moved to Loudoun in 2017, it was just a movie theater and a couple of apartment buildings and things like that. And then in the last 6 years, they brought on new retail space. They expanded out the apartment complexes and things like that. They've added significant retail space. We have the Metro now, and that is only maybe phase 2 of 4 for the development that they are looking to do in the One Gramercy area. If you take a bit of a look, the folks over at Comstock, their vision is to increase the space in the living space and the retail and office space as well. So right across from where the AMC Theater is in the roundabout, the intention is to develop that area where there is a parking lot into new commercial space for companies. And all of the area essentially between our office and the Metro is to be developed into commercial office space, retail, and residential units to kind of grow out that area for a bit more space and things like that. So these are a couple of the markups. The scale is a bit different because it looks like there's a significant area there, but the scale is a little bit different in the pictures than what we have there. They are very close to finishing up this area around CBT, which was a significant one for us in the past couple of years as well. And so hopefully that'll drive the need for vendors and customers and offices to be right in this area so that we can further develop what is there. The site plan is a little out of date, but what we have there is Chesterburg Academy is here. It's still a parking lot for the most part, with the idea of developing this into the next One Gramercy building. We have one tenant that we're going to announce later on this year as a significant tenant here, but there is definitely more coming. And then, of course, they're going to start working on phase 3 again. These are areas where there is parking currently right now that they're going to develop, but they're going to develop it out as the need kind of increases. And yeah, this is kind of a better perspective on that. So our office being right over here, and then them developing the One Gramercy space along here. I don't think the space will fit 3 large buildings, but it will likely fit 2. And we'll get that rocket and rolling hopefully in the next year or less. Then our big project that we've been talking about through Metro Mondays and significantly for the past couple of years is Orana and Innovation Station. Last year, we finalized the tax structure and the funding. We created a CDA to go along with it to further see this development, and we are on the verge of breaking ground on Orana in probably the first or second quarter of 2024. And we'll likely start seeing early development end of 25, beginning of 26, depending on construction schedule. So this has been a labor of love. A portion of this is in Fairfax County that we're working through as well. So it's definitely a big partnership operation. And as if you can see, if you remember what the layout looked like when we talked about this last year, the layout's a little different to accommodate some different structures, but you know, the vision is still the same. 2 million square feet of office and commercial space, you know, thousands of residential units, parks, walking districts, entertainment, retail, all of those things, commercial and hotel spaces. I believe when we do the groundbreaking, there's going to be an opportunity to announce the hotel partners that are going into that first phase as well. So things have been coming along very well. I'll share out these slides, but there's a video if you haven't seen the updated marketing materials. They have a brand new video with the updated layouts as well. And then if you click on the learn more here, you can see again, these are all updated materials for this year. And we set the break ground in 2024.
Hey, Brandon?
Yes, sir.
Can you go back to the previous slide for a second? Do you know the latest, and maybe this is more your office, because I think it's, well, Fairfax going around, but the bridge from the south side to the north side, it's not in the picture. Does anybody currently know what the alignment of that will be for certain?
I am not 100% certain on that one, but I can certainly ask some questions. But yeah, I remember that there was like a significant bridge that was about here, if I'm not mistaken. So we're taking folks from the Fairfax side over to the Loudon side, but in the updated drawings, that bridge is not there. I didn't get to explain too much on what the shift is. I don't know if you know, David.
No, I don't. In the latest drawings, there is no bridge that I've seen, so I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I'd be curious.
I think they're waiting for groundbreaking, and
Yeah.
actually,
That may be it, but the intention, I mean, there's still roundabout ways to get there
Yeah.
from the, off of 267 and off of the Fairfax side across Innovation Avenue and all these other things. So I'm just not sure what the vision is for getting them up to 28 over here. So that is definitely a question that I'll ask.
Well, the previous design had a dumping right near CIT building itself, and there was supposed to be some negotiation wiggling around. I just was curious if they had that taken care of yet, but I'll ask transportation.
Okay.
Thank you.
I can ask our market
Yeah,
intelligence.
If I find out more, I'll let you know.
Because we didn't see that on your drawing, because the CIT is down further, so we didn't see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so that's the Metro Bridge
Yeah.
right there. So.
Where's innovation? Innovation drive,
This
is that
is
the
the
main?
innovation right back here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's happening on the other side of the street that doesn't involve this? They're already breaking ground, they're already building something. Somebody said it was an apartment complex? It was on the
That,
Loudon
I don't
side.
know. I know that there was some planned development down there for housing and residential units. So it's not a part of Urbana. That may be some other land deal that's working out, but I can find out.
It was right on the line of Fairfax and Loudon, and now Fairfax is clearing that same area too for something, right?
Yeah, I believe it was housing in Fairfax.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that it's housing, which is the thing that we are in short supply of in this area.
Well, we see all this stuff that's coming, but now this thing's happening and I don't know what they are.
I know, yeah, and that's kind of the way that it's been working here. We have all of these large projects that we've been pushing, and then these other ones just pop up. And it's like, oh, okay, what is this now? Kind of the way we're rocking right now. It's a good thing. It's a gift and a curse. As David will probably tell you in his that, the great part of our job is that we're in an area that is thriving, and that is growing. Fairfax is seen a fair portion of success as well, just like us. And we just have to figure out a way to ensure that it is functional, that it is moving in the right direction, and that we're growing and not forgetting the things that make Northern Virginia great, which is the ability to live, the ability to have access to quality education, and a good place to work and enjoy aesthetically as well, because aesthetics are just as important as the money, as the development. But being comfortable with where you're living is important too. So we're making sure that we're not losing track of that as we're going through these major developments. Okay, and on my individual side, let's see here, that's the last slide, that was me. So in my sector, particularly in aviation, logistics, specialized manufacturing, this year I am, focusing on, the county is going to be releasing a unmanned systems study to see how businesses in the unmanned systems space are going to actually function and grow in the region, but also particularly in Loudoun County to give me a bit more direction. That's kind of been something that I've been championing since I started in the department. But now it's time to see, where the real opportunities are for us to grow in that area. We know that we have to accelerate. And I have a couple of projects that are hopefully going to close this year around the unmanned system, but we want to make sure that is still a viable opportunity space for us, as well as increasing our presence in manufacturing and aviation, really things along the lines of general aviation, research and development, some manufacturing around aerospace, but more specialty manufacturing around components, peripherals, and support systems. Hopefully some movements around the business in there, space, wide open airspace, and seeing how those things are going. So, I expect this year to be, a lot of pounding the pavement, a lot of development, and moving forward in the sector. Any questions, out there for me in regards to the county or the things that I plan on working on this year?
Just out of curiosity, Brandon, we've had the Silver Line running to Dulles now for over a year. From your perspective, from Loudoun's perspective, how has that helped or not helped with economic development?
Yeah, I think that it's a start, and in my opinion, as much as this may be a sticking point for some folks, but I think it needs to go a little further south. I think for us to see a significant change, particularly around the workforce, a lot of what I mentioned is the workforce in the manufacturing and logistics spaces. Typically, folks that live on this side of Northern Virginia aren't working in those jobs. So as the metro kind of populates and brings in folks from Maryland and DC, I also believe that we may need to extend it further, either with bus routes, or there have been some discussions about commuter lanes, bringing folks in from southern counties such as Prince William, Stafford, and things like that to start to work in some of these other jobs. So I think it's been good. I mean, we've been able to retain, Fairfax in particular, they've been able to retain folks like Volkswagen and things like that. We've been able to get folks, again, Cuisine Solutions, Hanley Energy, we're bringing in hundreds of employees, and the Metro does have a significant role in that. And it's a start. But for us to have full usage and take full advantage of the Metro, I think there may be a need for it to expand a little further south.
Thank you.
Has Leesburg shown any interest in getting the Metro?
Not from what I've seen. I'm actually working on a project with Leesburg Economic Development right now. I haven't heard of any push for them to get the Metro out that way. It would take a significant push. Scott can tell you it took a significant push to get the Metro out this far. So getting it further into western Loudoun may be a significant push that may take us another 15, 20 years to get.
Oh, I'd say a lot longer than that. When you consider how long it took it to get to the airport from when the original discussion, I'd say it'd be beyond 50 years. I just don't think the financing would ever come forward to make it happen.
So can I say in a question? Brandon,
Given the state of funding with Metro currently,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hey, Brandon, John Boylan, what about workforce? What are the things that you think when you're talking about manufacturing, some of the techs and trades, what are the things that you're missing you'd like to see, help us, with Committee for Dulles? We just did that great event with the jobs, the job fairs. Loudoun County had hey, here's all the jobs, 20,000 jobs at the airport. What are the things that you need to look at for Loudoun County to help out?
Yeah, for sure. So, it's all relational, right? So I credit it to the significant movements for us in some of the manufacturing and aerospace spaces, the Committee for Dulles, to the relationship that we have with the airport in particular. Like being able to work those job fairs, and Scott can tell you, that was non-existent a few years ago. Being able to create job fairs right in the airport, it's been great. So the need is there for us to have the jobs for folks. We have them at the airport. I'd like to see that expand out a little bit further into the airport corridors, a bit out further into Ashburn, a little further south into Fairfax and Reston for jobs in the manufacturing trades particularly. Because the bigger trends in workforce and labor are going to be around manufacturing. There's a lot of these technologies that have been developed in Europe and Germany and parts of Central and Eastern Asia. As they want to move into the United States, the largest sector for them to want to move into is government and defense. With the restrictions and structures in the U.S. government on American-made or assembled products, they're going to need skilled labor and trade to make those things happen here. So we need to continue to partner with our universities and local institutions to help show that the trades are a viable option for students and people re-entering or redeveloping skills in the workforce. But the biggest need is to continue partnerships and grow and create the jobs so that we can, it's like a chicken and an egg, but we want to create the jobs to get the people, but we also need the people to get the jobs to attract the companies. So we're working it from both angles.
May I suggest we go ahead and
Yes,
put
I
Dave
was-
on and
Thank you very much,
Questions?
Brandon. We appreciate it. And
Thank
that was
you.
a great update on what's going on and what you're looking for the future. And we'll turn it over to David Kelly.
Just a second, if you can stop share screen, and then I'll pull up Dave's.
Okay. Welcome.
Awesome. I'm going to drop off. Thank you guys. And I will see you again real soon.
Well, thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon.
For a meeting
As
at
he
9.
did that, he's not feeling too well, or we'd be here. This is the second year we've done this. I did want to go over just a few things before. If you have any questions, please, let's make this a conversation versus me just talking. You did have that up.
Actually, it wasn't advancing, and now that he's off,
Okay.
well,
Did you use it?
no, I was thinking of doing something else, but I don't want to mess you up in the middle.
Because Scott told me I needed to talk for 2 hours.
Come on.
Yeah, Brandon had
There we go.
COVID. So
We
he's
can go to the next one.
not too well.
Yeah, just do
That
something.
should be- So,
Yeah, I did want to start because 5 years ago, if we'd have been sitting here, we wouldn't have. We would have been just competing one with another and not working together and not focused on that at all. And Victor Hoskins took over about 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago. He became our new president and CEO. And so he wanted to create an alliance, Northern Virginia Alliance. And so we did that with 9 jurisdictions. We did have 10. Fakir decided to pull out. But we have 9 jurisdictions now working together. And so we do work together as an entity. Back in the day, we were, Fairfax County was competing with Silicon Valley, and Silicon Valley is 23 different counties. We were doing pretty well, just as Fairfax County, but we do much better now that we're a regional and we're going after it as a group. The other thing is we are 48th in the world as an economic power. So if we were a country, we'd be 48th in the world. And in the DMV area, we just did some numbers, and we'd be 26 or 27 in the world if we had the whole DMV working together. And so we are focused on that. That's our next endeavor, especially for Victor, is to work with the district and then into Maryland as well.
And then become a country.
And then become a country, that's right, become a separate entity in the country. But as you can see, the airports are on this slide, and that helps us out a lot. And there was a question with regard to the Silver Line, or the Metro in particular. That has helped us out economically as well. It's been a boom to us in Fairfax County, and I'll go into that in a little more detail. If we go to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about the economic powerhouse that we are in this area. I'm only going to go over 3 or 4 of these, but the biggest one, I think, is the $55 billion in federal contract awards in this area of Northern Virginia. We are 47th. We're ahead of 47 states, so that's great. Now, in Fairfax County alone, we do over $35 billion, and we're 46, ahead of 46 states. We're never going to be number 1 because Virginia will always have that, but we're looking to work together because the federal government, a lot of people don't realize, but the federal government has a lot of innovation. And things, from aerospace to cyber to all kinds of technology. They're at the forefront. And so we have a lot of companies working with them. And they could also productize some of those, but the federal government owns them, so they can't productize it. So we're looking at doing those kind of things as well, and to productize some. And we are starting to get other companies who aren't doing things with the federal government and are productizing their solution. The other one that I want to highlight is 39% of our companies are minority owned in the area. And that is great because we are really looking for diversification. Those are woman-owned, minority-owned, and sometimes veteran-owned companies. So within the U.S., it's about 29%, but in this region, we're almost at 40% of that. The other thing that I'd like to focus on is we're almost 40% of Virginia's GDP. And so that's another thing to look at, and how much we put back into the state of Virginia as an entity. And then we have over 21,000 technology establishments that employ over 270,000 people in the area. And so that's fantastic as well. So we're really focused on that. We're doing pretty well. Our unemployment rate is lower than the national average. And so really have nothing else on there. Do you have any questions with regard to any of the things on this slide? If you don't, we'll just move on to the next one. And we're really focused on Fairfax County now. Our office market, we have over 119 million in office space. Right now, we have almost 100 million that is occupied office space. When I mean occupied office space, it's a hybrid model for most companies. So they're in at least 2 to 3 days out of the week. We're hoping for 3 days out of the week. What we're finding is a lot of organizations, and ours is included, Mondays and Fridays usually are work from home. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you're going in. I really do like the roads on Mondays because I get into the office. I usually work Monday through Thursday in the office. We are at a 17% vacancy rate. Our California office just let us know that San Francisco's vacancy rate is over 36%. 1 out of every 3 buildings in San Francisco is empty, which is that's huge.
I wonder why.
In 2022, we delivered over 2 million square feet of office space with a little over 150,000 square feet under construction. We now have in our pipeline over 50 million square feet of office space, because what we're finding is companies want to be in Class A space. So they may be taking a little less space, but they're taking the Class A space, and they're paying about the same amount for that Class A space because they want the amenities, they want everything close by, walking distance, those kind of things. So it's what are we going to do with the Class C space? And so an example of that is ICF decided they wanted to be close to the metro. This was a few years ago. So they moved to Reston. They're right there on the metro. They had 2 huge buildings that ended up becoming Class C space near the Pan Am Shopping Center in Fairfax. And so we tried a lot of different things for that space. It's now going to be torn down completely and turned into residential units. So that's something that's happening. The other thing that's happening is with some space, especially in Fairfax County, that isn't going to be office space anymore. We are turning those into data centers. So that's a solution that we're looking at.
Are they
incorporating.
the multi-rise or more the
Multi-rise. Yeah.
Even the multi-rise.
Yeah. So, in fact, most of our data centers are multi-rise data centers. We do have one in Reston. You wouldn't even know that there's a data center there. They've got 5 different huge buildings hidden.
No windows.
No windows, no.
They should be putting in fake windows just for the aesthetic reason.
Yeah. But it's
Some
kind
of
of
them they do.
Yeah, and that is true. The new data centers that we're seeing being built have windows. I mean, it looks like an office building versus a data center, but you do have the fence around it, so you can tell that it's either data center or a 3-letter agency.
Right.
In a 3-car parking lot, right?
That's right. That's right.
Hey, Dave, what about the difference with the business taxes? As we lose people are working from home, not going to businesses, are we losing a loss in business taxes?
The biggest loss in business taxes probably on the retail side. So those restaurants, dry cleaners, people that are, you know, Mondays and Fridays. Although Tyson's is pretty busy near where we are as far as the restaurants go. But you're right. That's the biggest loss, I think, on the tax side.
I'm worried about that with the mix. I know Herndon in particular did a nice job of keeping that balance, but as
Yes.
we kind of cheer with the success of switching the commercial real estate into residential, the burden's going to be more on the individual homeowners to pay more of the taxes
That
as
is-
businesses
Yes.
decrease.
That is correct. And so what we're trying to do in Fairfax County is not just have it be residential, but a mix. So we're having office space being built within that residential area. And so people can just walk to work. The borough is a good example of that in Tyson's. A lot of apartment buildings and a lot of businesses. And so we want to do that. That's the goal that we're trying to strive for. And Tyson, you talked about 50 years for the Metro. Tyson's, we want to make that a walkable city. It's probably going to be 50 years by the time that happens. But the borough is very walkable. And there are the other areas of Tyson's that are walkable. We did do a test one time where we tried to walk Tyson's, and it's like playing Frogger. We had a good time doing that. So we are trying to get that into play. But again, that's probably out of my lifetime.
What are the major criteria for type A office space? Is it just location, or is it connectivity? And
It's location, it's also connectivity. I mean, the borough was not an area that had, so they started building there. So it's new office space, but with a lot of amenities and tied to restaurants. We have Whole Foods there, a lot of different things. So that's what we're trying to do, is build that in. So what we found is people want to be less than 20 minutes away from something that they can get to from their office. That's something that DC actually did a study, and so Victor Hoskins took that into account. But he'd rather be like 5-10 minutes of a walk, and so that's what we're really striving for. And we're also moving our offices because it's quite a walk to get anywhere from where we are. So
And the dangerous
And the
one,
dangerous
having done
Where-
it
where
many
you-
years ago
Yes,
and not
yes.
even today.
yes,
Where you know where you're
going, David?
we're heading to the borough.
Oh,
Ah,
Lots,
Okay.
a lot smaller footprint, a newer type space, will be open, we won't have individual offices. It's gonna be a team environment, and very modern environment.
Awesome.
And we're actually saving money in the long run by doing this.
I'm not familiar with the borough. How many, is there a lot of residential with it?
There is a lot of residential in the borough, and also a lot of businesses in the borough. SAIC, you have Alarm.com, you have quite a few large businesses and smaller businesses.
Just kind of going back, it's hard to have a mixed use if people aren't looking into the office more than three times a week. So, but
No, we're hoping, we're trying to push for more than that. We're 3 times at least. There are a few of us that end up going 4. There have been a couple weeks I've been there 5 days out of the week.
it's killing DC because the government won't go back
They're
to
still
work.
not.
Yes.
Right.
yeah.
You know,
No,
actually,
you're
the
right.
Class A, to build to your point, is, Mike's here with the hotels. I was always worried as they did more and more Class A, especially in the Reston area. That means they're not going off-site for those hotels, right? Because they're trying to do things and keep people in the building.
Right.
And so they're not using the restaurants for the off-sites, and they're all kind of staying really close. And, folks like the Crown are like, hey, come out here, come over here. There's no reason to, because they've made such a nice location. And now that they've decreased even coming back a few days, we're just worried about this whole ecosystem. We need to be thinking about what happens or changing the model where the expectations is doing your strategic planning.
Yes. Yes, that's a good point. And you're going to see there are a couple that are office buildings, but they have hotels and they also have residential. So we're
All
building in
within
resident-
a complex.
all within a complex. Yes.
plus public transportation.
Plus, yes.
Yeah.
These are some of the major announcements starting way back in 2009 going across. All of these, except for 2, Northrop Grumman and Navy Federal, are not on the Silver Line, but all the rest are on the Silver Line. And that is the reason why they are there. Volkswagen isn't on this list, but in 2020 they moved to be right on the Silver Line in Reston, and so we should add them to this list. But we almost lost a couple of these, but a lot of them wanted to to be on the Silver Line and be right on that, and also be close to Dulles Airport. And we have, on our international side, we have over 440 international companies that are in Fairfax County, and most of them have taken on the Silver Line because they like flying into Dulles. Now, their chief executives, they get picked up at the airport, but the other ones will go and take the line. I did a ribbon cutting in June for a company out of Austria, and they're right on the Herndon Road, right on the Herndon station, and it's great, and they love it because they can just pop on and off. And they also like being able to ride to DC and experience that as well. So a lot of things with regard to the Silver Line that are great. And it does help us. I mean, we don't have much of a problem enticing companies to come into the area. It is an economic boom, especially in Fairfax County, the Silver Line and the two airports.
Where are you finding your best fishing ponds? I know you've got the international group, but even in the U.S., where do you find some good returns? You go up to New York or San Francisco?
So we do have an office in California, in Orange County, and they help us out a lot. We do trips to Southern California and Northern California. San Francisco has been a boom for us. We've been able to get a lot of companies. Splunk is one. They're in Tyson's, done very, very well. There's several others. So we do get a lot of those organizations. And actually, Qualtrics is a company out of Provo, Utah. They bought a company here. They were thinking of taking them to Pittsburgh or Cleveland, and we were able to work with the state, and we kept them here. And that was all with regard to the talent side. So we do have a talent team. We're a little different than most EDAs, but we have a talent initiative, and so we have our vice president of talent, and he has a team, and we do career fairs, and I'll go into that in a little detail.
I just had a question. The one out of San Francisco coming to the Fairfax, did they relocate the headquarters or just expand?
They just expanded.
Yeah,
Most of the time it's expanding as a beginning. We
that's a
did,
good beginning.
so Splunk was thinking of coming here and moving their headquarters, and they had several people here locally that wanted that to happen. And then they hired a new CEO, and he was out of Seattle. And so they coexist, San Francisco and Seattle. But we have sales forces here, big presence in Tyson's now, and they want to do a lot more in this area. And we have met, he works out of the DC office. He's 6 months here and 6 months in San Francisco.
So do they allow you to join the Chamber of Commerce, or do you have to?
No, we didn't. No, we haven't joined any chambers of commerce out there. But the
They're
West
stealing
Coast
people.
is very good, and we also we go to South by Southwest. We go to a lot of other shows as well. Our travel is connected to a conference. So when we go to San Francisco, we're at the RSA conference. We go to South by Southwest. We go to some other conferences in New York. We did have a Boston office a while ago. We shut that one down. But we are starting to do a lot more in Boston. So we go there once a year, and there are some companies. They have a very good incubator system, and so a lot of those companies want to come here. And so we're starting to work with them.
It's really tied to universities too.
Oh, it is.
There, it's all
Yeah.
about the universities.
Cambridge,
You
yeah.
just circle Route 128,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
pick up a lot of go.
Yep, you got a MIT and Harvard. Those
Yeah.
are the ones that we
Yeah, spin out. Oh.
Yeah, and they also, their incubator system is amazing. And they do have quite a few companies, and the state does pay a lot. So we met someone, she was actually originally from Alexandria, but she was going to MIT. She came up with an idea. The state paid her for it, so we couldn't pull her back down here. We wanted to. But she's doing well, so that's great. But yeah, next month, yeah. So, I mean, we've had the year. You already know about the Million Ride. I think what's interesting is the 5-year population forecast along the Silver Line. Regionally, it's going to be 11% versus 1% regionally. And so we're seeing a lot of people move to those apartment buildings or those residences that are, and again, it's all mixed use. It's not just a residential site. And we'll go into that a little more. The other one is 1 out of every 3 jobs in our county right now is tied to the Silver Line. And so that's huge. as well for us, because we're really focused on the talent and drive talent and companies. So we're working closely at developing that and developing a pipeline. And again, I'll go into that on another slide. But that is our big thing for us is talent, making sure. And so we are working with, we're starting in middle school now. So we're working with the middle schools as well as high schools, trades. Fairfax County has 8 high schools that just focus on the trades. And one great one is in Chantilly, Volkswagen. I mean, they have so they're training everyone to be either engineers or mechanics. And that is pristine. I don't know if you ever have a chance to go out there. But we also, Edison High School is doing things with electricians. We've got other high schools that are doing things. And the other thing that we're trying to push is more diversity with regard to engineering, science, and math. And what we found was the young women were killing it in high school as far as math goes and engineering. Yet when they got to college, they were going into psychology, English, and other things. And that was because when they would have the assemblies and people would come in and talk about engineering careers or aerospace careers or those kind of careers, they were all men and all in their 40s and 50s. And so we're trying to flip that and get more women to come into the schools and talk. With the need of being the only woman here. But yeah, that's a focus of ours as well. And also trying
over 40.
Yes. and work with students who don't even think about going to college or what are careers. They have no idea what's out there and what are career solutions for them. And so we're working with an organization called Think Big for Kids, and that's really taking off. And we have a board, and I think we're doing several. I think there are over 30 different things that we're doing in that area with just high schools.
Well,
and middle schools.
I always come up with this, what I normally say to politicians. I say, you got the data centers coming. And there was one politician that just bragged like crazy about all the high school kids now are getting into this tech world, and going into these data centers. And I'm saying, well, what's a data center? And it did try to tell me what a data center is. I said, no, it's a big, huge air conditioner. And you've got to have somebody to fix that air conditioner.
Yes.
Not just the technicians that run the data center, but you got electricians, HVAC people, the whole gamut. And that's where we're really we're lacking that job, that career path.
Yes.
And the high schools, like you said, the high schools have they used to have those type of trade courses. And it could keep kids from dropping out of high school too.
Correct.
If you think about it,
And that's our goal, is to make sure that they don't drop out of high school,
Right.
get their high school degree. And there's so many things now, you don't need a college. You can get some certifications and other
Absolutely.
things and become employed. And we want to keep those people here as well. And even the ones that go on to college, if they go to college somewhere else, we want them to come back here. And the reason for that is that they learned, whatever they want to do in high school or middle school. So we're very focused on that.
I think it would pay off if both Loudoun County and Fairfax County got together and had a high school that was dedicated to aviation.
Oh, yeah.
All
Oh,
aspects.
that's a good.
From mechanics to
Oh,
pilots.
that's okay.
You probably get people to fund that.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's a good, okay, we
Yeah.
don't have that, I'll take that back. I'll take that back to our talent team, that's great.
Hey,
We
Dave,
have,
Mike is a secret weapon. I mean,
he's
absolutely
fantastic.
He's helped us with the chamber. We did an innovation event
Yeah.
for our workforce that he just picked up and tore off with the techs and trades. It's just wonderful. So I just kudos to you guys and helping Mike. He's
yes.
great.
No, Mike is fantastic, and we've done the 2 career fairs at Dulles, assisted on those, and those have been great.
There's a lot of overlap there when you say aviation. I mean, we're talking about electricians and HVAC and aviation. If you drew a Venn diagram of that thing, you'd probably find a big commonality in the middle
Yes.
where you could, just cut it up and teach different classes, and then after they take 3 or 4 classes, then they can decide which direction they want.
Yes, and we're finding in especially Chantilly area, a lot of the aerospace, technology, aviation is going there, and we're really focused on developing that here. And that's another one that we go to. So we go on the Space Symposium that's in Colorado Springs. So we have somebody that's over that, and it's amazing. He tried to get 6 meetings or 7 meetings with these companies locally. He ended up meeting them in Colorado Springs and then got there. So that was great. But you're right, aviation is a big.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me ask you a quick question. I applaud the idea of, growing our own talent. I think that's
Yes.
very important. But for years, we've been exporting talent. We create them here
Yeah.
and they leave.
Yes.
And you talked about how you want them to come back here. So what are we doing to try to keep the kids that are coming out of high school and the kids that are coming out of college, what are we doing to attract them to come back here and live here and work here? What are the initiatives that the county, that the EDA is working on?
Mostly with regard to career fairs and having them get jobs here locally and working with those institutions. So we are working with Virginia Tech and Blacksburg, but all the universities. So we have a connection. Mike, you mentioned him. He's got a connection with most of the universities. So we're even trying to grab them. We did one out of USC. It was out of the business school for management, and we had 4 companies that were interviewing right there graduate students from USC. We're doing that in a lot of other areas, and with a lot of historically black colleges, we've been doing that as well. But we're really focused on retaining those. But also, we have our Work in Northern Virginia website, which is part of the Alliance website, and we used to have 120,000 openings. Well, we're not going to get 120,000 people here locally to take those. So we had to expand and go out. So we're really focused on that. What we've now found is a lot of the companies, I think it's because of the interest rates and some other things, they're kind of flat. We're now down to about, and I shouldn't say down, but we're about 56,000 job openings in the area. Fairfax County having the bulk of those. But it's because companies have decided they're waiting it out. And they don't want to lay people off. And so that's one good thing about our area. We haven't had those layoffs like California has. We've had some, but when we have the WARN notices, it's 100 people, and then we go in there. Mike goes in there with his team, and we try and get them jobs right away. So that's our focus in doing that. And I'll show you another one when we get to the next slide.
Have you heard, the only other thing I've heard about young people staying in the area is the cost of housing for them. And that
That is-
as an entry job and a young person coming
Yes,
out of
yes.
college or graduate school.
Yes, we have noticed that
And that's
A lot of our-
harder to control.
that is. So that's where we need to have more housing available, because if you have more, it hopefully lowers the price versus increases the price. So we're really focused on that and trying to drive that. Affordable housing, we can't do too much as an economic entity, but that's one of Victor's hotspots is affordable housing. And so we are really focused on that and trying to do different things. And you'll see in a couple of the charts here, there are some affordable housing that is being built, and only affordable housing. So it's 274 units, it's all affordable housing. And we have seen that there's been, we had a success story. It was in Loudoun County, actually. The woman was a teacher, and she needed affordable housing. She went on the waiting list, she got it, and she has that housing. She has 2 kids that both graduated from college. So those are the kind of success stories we want out of affordable housing. We're building one right now. It's going to break ground. It used to be a car dealership. I think it was the Jaguar, Porsche. It was one in Route 7 going into Tyson's. That's going to be a complete affordable housing. So Fairfax County is paying for that because they're building a community center around that. But all those units, it's over 200
Amazon's
units.
big.
Yes, Amazon's a big proponent of affordable housing as well.
Wasn't the Residence Inn in Herndon converted to affordable?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we have the big one right outside.
Yeah,
Totally.
really? Yeah.
We got about 5 minutes.
Oh,
left
sorry.
Before we
So
get into the next.
Sorry, so Cap One, I just wanted to go over, we've done many things here. They just delivered 900,000 square feet of mixed-use office tower. it's a over 5 million square foot plan that they're doing. And so they're still building on that campus, but that's a fantastic campus. And we're holding a career fair there. It's a cyber and tech career fair. We have 48 vendors. Last year we had 50, but 2 of the vendors complained they were pushed out a little too far. So we're only doing 48 vendors this year, but we had 800 people attend last year. We're hoping for over 1,000. And we're also bringing in college and university students as well. And then we're having another one the following day, and that's a virtual career fair. We also done other things there. Scotts Run is across the street. A lot of residential units. It's just before the MITRE. It's a great location, and there are 6.6 million square feet of development that's still going to go in there as well. The borough, talked about that a little bit. Most of that is residential that's going in right now, but there are a couple other buildings that are going to be square feet office. And then the Mather, what's interesting here is we are doing a lot of senior development projects. Because one thing that's not highlighted, we're going to start highlighting it, is healthcare. Healthcare in this region is fantastic. And so we always tout schools, we tout jobs, we tout the economy and everything else. But healthcare, so keeping senior citizens here as well is something that we want to do also.
Although that's pretty wealthy senior citizens.
That is.
That one is.
Those are,
I've
yeah.
seen-
No,
John
yes.
said we live in there, so.
Yes. And then the last thing is Herndon Reston. 2 of those that were delivered were in Herndon, and most of those were with regard to units and retail around those units. And then under construction, we do have Reston Row, and so there are 2 office towers, but as you're pointing out, the JW Marriott's going to be right in there as well. So we do, that is an issue, because hotels that are separated from that, how do we get people to go to those hotels? But that's the first tower is going to be delivered this year, and then the second phase construction, again, hotel, 75,000 square feet of office space at Reston Town Center, at the next one, and then Haley Rise with mixed use, again, residential units. But also, those residential units are coming. It's not just having a bunch of residential units and nothing around it. There's a lot of retail space, there's a lot of other things, amenities around that, and then right on the Silver Line as well. And so that's going to wrap it up. So. Thank you, Scott, very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Um,
Robert.